When you think about your career and your achievement, do you feel a sense of expansion or do you feel a sense of emptiness? There are many people in our society, successful individuals, wealth, status, they are role models. Yet when you ask them, and if they're honest with themselves, they feel a sense of emptiness, that I'm not enough and I'm keep searching for something more. So what happens when achievement feels right, is motivating, and achievement feels hollow, it's not enough? That's the topic for today for our podcast. My guest is an expert who has actually lived on both sides of the aisle, very successful, went to emptiness, and then she came back again. Her name is Loredana Regep. She's a physician. She was a business executive in biotech and a coach, an expert in total health, wellness, and leadership. So we will dig deeper about how do we go from emptiness to achievement. Welcome, Loredana, and let's get started.
Hi, everyone who's listening to this podcast today. It's really a pleasure to be here today. And by the way, Ardeshir, I don't think I've ever heard my professional and personal trajectory, both through, I would say, career and through the world, described so eloquently as you have today. I'm currently located in Bucharest, Romania, where I returned actually at the end of October last year. Specifically, I live in a building flat, which is in District 4. And if I look around, just right outside my window, I see a bus station. I see some shops, like the kind of the small grocery shops that you. I see a couple of medical offices actually as well, some restaurants, specifically Romanian restaurants.
Ah,
So it's a beautiful neighborhood.
give us a sense about your journey.
I had to return to my roots, or actually probably to myself, I would say, in many ways. So I think it was both an inner and an outer journey in this
Yeah.
sense. So yeah, I was born in Romania. When it comes to chapters of my life, I always probably also like to include, if you don't mind, a very important chapter, which was me living during communist times. Because I was almost
Yes.
17 when the revolution happened. And that was actually something that obviously marked my life and the way of thinking and seeing the world for a very long time. After that, some of the chapters that I actually went through were actually medical school, then working in the hospital, then actually taking a decision to completely change, move into the pharma industry, where I spent 23 years. Little did I know that my life involved also moving around the world. So in 2010, I actually started a new job in Switzerland. From there, I moved after 3 years in Norway, and another 3 years in the Czech Republic, in another 3 years in Canada. So my life has been made of lots of 3 years lately. And 2022 was the year when I resigned from the pharma industry, deciding this is no longer something that I've been actually feeling and dealing with for a while. Moved to Costa Rica, where I thought I'll spend the rest of my life. And lo and behold, I think the universe was laughing and saying, not exactly. So I came back after another 3.5 years in Costa Rica. I came back here in Romania for a professional opportunity, but also for our daughter who wanted to move back to Europe and who felt also very attached and wanted to pretty much reintegrate in Romania.
That's beautiful. You mentioned a theme that I would like to come back to it. And you said that you came back to your roots and it was coming back to yourself. The journey of seeking and becoming, we see it as if it's a linear path always from left to going forward, but there's a pattern to that. We keep coming back to the essence and we create almost like a loop. We're coming back.
That's a great way of describing it. I like it.
You rose to leadership. And yet you talk about the quiet signals that this is not exactly the life or part of the life that is working for you. What was it like?
Yeah, I would say if I would use a metaphor, this is what I was thinking the other day. I like using metaphors to better explain some things that I feel inside, but I don't quite have the words for it. It's like holding maybe those two sheets or two transparent sheets, if you want, in the light. One is the picture that you thought this is how my life should be looking like, which a lot of times I would say in my case, it was the same. Maybe it was built on expectations from others, from society, from family, from whatever I learned and acquired during my journey. And then there was another sheet with another contour, which was the life that I wanted to live as I was becoming something else. And for years, I think there was a pretty good overlay between the two figures until a certain point in time when they stopped overlaying. There started to be actually a gap between the two of them. And the gap became bigger and bigger every year. And the thing is that once you see that gap, once you notice it, you cannot unsee it. This happened for me actually around 2018, to be honest. So way before I actually decided to leave the industry.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things that I used to love doing. And again, I've been given phenomenal opportunities in my career. I couldn't be not more grateful for them. But, and probably my younger self would have said, oh my God, this is really a dream. But some of those opportunities, as they kept arising, they were not holding the same joy, the same aliveness, the same desire to pursue that. And it created some sort of a confusion. Now, here is the interesting thing. I did not ignore it. It became quite strong. My instinct was in 2018 to actually go back to the beginning, to medicine. I started actually to study and to return to clinical practice. So this is how real it felt for me. But then the position in Canada happened, which was another amazing professional opportunity. And I said yes to it for family reasons, but also because maybe I did not quite trust myself fully, that inner instinct that was telling me, this is not your place anymore. I don't regret it. It's been a phenomenal time that I spent there. I had a lot of, again, opportunities to grow and to learn.
Yeah.
But at some point in time, the signal not only didn't go away, but it got so louder that I could not ignore it anymore. So I had to actually fully follow it.
This is really important, actually. Those signals, where did they come from? What were the origins of those signals? And the second question, related question, is that as you heard them, you sensed them, you felt them, what did it look like to you?
That was not able to express itself fully. Because obviously, when you work in a certain job, in a certain environment, corporate or not, you have to follow certain patterns, certain rules, grid rules of how you show up at work, how you express yourself, what things that you might want to do or not what to do. So I think that part, which initially was what drove me to medicine, to take care of people. I think that part was actually very strong, getting very strong. And also the fact that I felt I had so much more to offer. And of course, because of the job, I was not able to pursue those things. They were not really aligned with my job description, I would say. So this is, I think, where it was an inner calling which got stronger and stronger. And I would say the shiny things, which again, I'm not criticizing because they have been great in many ways for me. And I think they may be the person that I'm today. So I can relate to a lot of other experiences of the people that I'm working with today. But those kind of shiny things that people would call success by all definitions in our society no longer held that kind of, I don't know how to say that, that attraction. Yes, that pull, exactly, no longer. And then you asked me something else and I forgot to answer.
The second one was, so as you felt those inclinations, what did they look like to you? What were the feelings like?
The first feeling was to go back to practicing medicine, to be close to people.
Yeah.
Not to have systemic impact, which most people might be dreaming of, changing the world. I wanted to maybe help a person. I think for me, the individuals, the people became very important.
Yeah.
And this is maybe what drove me to the initial idea that maybe I should go back to medicine. Later on, in 2022, when I left, it actually manifested in deciding to become a coach, which I thought is a very powerful profession if done correctly and if done passionately, to help people like myself, but also, especially like myself, also others, if they are in pursuit of something else, but people like myself to go back to who they truly are, to remember who they truly are.
To remember. And if I understand you correctly, a key part of who you are is the space of helping others heal, grow, find themselves. So it's really, it's been a passion for you.
It's always been a passion, correct?
Passion for you, passion. The question for you, thinking about your corporate life, the way you talked about inner pull, inner calling you feel, and then the external role you play. To what extent it's unique to you, or do you sense this is common for so many people that there's a duality.
I would love to claim I'm that unique, but I'm definitely not. And I think there are a lot of people who are actually feeling the same calling.
Yeah,
Some not necessarily being in a position when they could maybe choose a different path in life. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
respect that very much, because
yeah.
maybe they have other priorities, other things which are much more important, and they have to honor that. But I think there are a lot of people who are actually feeling that call. And for a while, you channel it in activities which are meaningful like that. So
Yeah, yeah,
I've worked with a lot of people that have tried to change, maybe not at a individual person level, but more of a systemic level, change the way clinical practice looks like, change the way
yeah, yeah,
innovation is being done in healthcare. So there are a lot of people like that. In at least I met so many of them in my time in the company,
yeah.
people that wanted to make a difference, and
That's
they were
right.
looking for ways of expressing that part of themselves.
That's right. This is so powerful, Lorjana. As you know, there's a vast literature about burnout in North America, Europe, and all the industrial countries. And a sense of burnout often is being described as too much work, too much demand, and you're not keeping up. What you're mentioning is actually there's a different layer. It's not about work, it's not about demand. If you love what you do, you actually you can figure it out. Is when you see it, there's a rupture between who you are, what you want, what draws you, and the work you do. There's a is that gap which you talked about it.
Mhm.
That gap is when you feel depleted, that you're doing the work, but you're not feeling it. You're not in it. And you just feel a stranger in the work you do. Does that make sense how I describe it?
It makes a lot of sense. You describe it really well. In my own words, again, using a metaphor, I felt like I was living by somebody else's script. Someone
Ah,
wrote a script for me that, and for a while it
yeah,
resonated,
yeah,
felt like that's what I wanted all my life.
yeah.
And then it stopped being having a meaning to me. It felt like
That's right.
somebody else's movie, and I didn't belong in that movie anymore. So I decided, you know what? Why don't I live by my own script? Why don't I become the
Love,
writer of my own
I love
story of
that.
my own life?
Your own life. And for the listeners who follow my work and my book, You're Not Depressed, You're Unfinished, so many individuals from the outside, they look great. They smell great. They have great jobs, family, car, spouse, but deep down, they're emotionally starved. And it shows up as depression, as anxiety, as sense of life. It just feels heavy. And yet you're crushing it. And the answer, which we want to bring to the next one you talk about, that the many high achievers, their version of success, when they feel the pain, the nudge, they apply more discipline,
Yeah.
more focus, work harder. Maybe I need more, I need to achieve more. And then it doesn't work. It just, there's a sense of where there's, tell us about how you see this and what did you learn? What did you do?
Yeah. Definitely, when you're a high achiever, in your world, nothing has to be wrong. And everything that feels like discomfort should be
Yeah,
present there. So you're doing your best to actually not look at it and
yeah,
hide it under the carpet, whatever, just not to feel it, that
yeah,
discomfort,
yeah,
not allowing yourself to understand what does that discomfort try to tell me.
yeah,
And in doing so, in putting more discipline, more working hours, more effort, more energy, we are completely missing life.
oh,
We are missing the precious moments
yeah,
with our family,
yeah,
with ourselves. We don't even give ourselves time to be with ourselves. We
yeah,
are simply missing life. It's going by. That was one of the things that hit me really heavily. And maybe it was also the environment after COVID, but there was more to it. That's how I felt it. I felt if I keep going like this, I don't think I'm going to make it to the retirement age.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then what's the point? I don't have enough time to spend with my husband, with my daughter. And what's the point?
That's
In
right.
the hope of a future when I maybe will have time to spend with them.
That's right.
What's the point of that?
That's right. That's right.
But the most important thing, you miss yourself. You
Yeah,
don't understand who you are anymore. You get lost
yeah.
in others' definition of success and
That's right.
achievement.
That's right. Loredana, for the people who they are less missing life. They are doing better on that scale. What do they do? What is how does life feels or look like for them?
I'm going to go back to my time in Costa Rica when I didn't have a job anymore. I was trying to build a new career, a new business, reinvent myself. I would say the first part feels a lot like failure and felt a lot like failure until I discovered that
It feels
behind
like
the feeling of
it feels like a failure. Why?
because you're no longer, you don't have the identity you were used to.
Yeah.
You don't have the respect of people who actually paid attention to you because you had a job title.
Yeah.
You were somewhere higher up in the hierarchy, which
Yeah.
is all fine. It's part of how life unfolds here.
Yeah.
But then what you realize once you go past that, if you have the courage to accept that, yeah, okay, fine, I'm feeling like that. Okay, what else is there for me?
Yes.
Then you discover that life for people that decide to do something different. And again, I decided to do this step. Not that everybody needs to do that the same, but
Yeah.
they can. I decided that I realized that I was in the lead of my life for the first time.
Mm.
I was the decision maker of who I want to be next. Which version of myself do I want to live?
Yes.
Which version of my life do I want to pursue? How do I want to bring my contribution from here on?
Yeah.
What do I feel it's important and not important? I would say the life loses its content, its heavy, busy
Yeah.
content,
Yeah.
and gets more meaning and more purpose.
That's right. What is? I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You were saying something.
No, one thing I want you to say, it's like the colors in the picture are becoming more bright.
That's right. That's beautiful. What is interesting that in our society so personally, I hate the term retirement.
Yeah.
That I know so many people, relatives, that their discussion is that I will do this when I retire. When I retire, I would take that vacation. I would take that course. I would go on that trip. And they wait. In fact, the words they use later on, someday, somehow. Then they retire. And to your point, they are lost. They are lost. And in fact, it's well researched that if you haven't learned how to live, how to be in charge of your emotions, your actions, your surroundings, your decisions, when you retire, the day after retire, when you're at home, people go into dark places. That's where depression, sense of rudderlessness. That's so. What do I do when I don't have a structure? I don't have deadlines. I don't have meetings. I don't have people who ask for me or they want to be around me. So what you're talking about is to live a life of intention, of fullness, professional, personal. So it's a work is not the only feature that gives you meaning and structure.
Yeah. If I can add to that, because I love how
Please.
you describe this. And again, you're the expert in the topic. So I always love hearing from you.
Yeah.
I would also add life becomes a celebration of small moments, moments
Yeah,
that you do not appreciate.
that's right.
And people might laugh. You appreciate when you see your house clean. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
gave me satisfaction.
yeah,
Cooking a meal for my family
yeah,
because I didn't have much time. I wasn't a great cook. I learned
yeah,
to become a better one for sure because I had
yeah,
more
yeah,
time. The moment of actually interacting with a person in a market,
yeah, yeah,
smiling to someone on the street,
yeah,
maybe giving a $5 bill to the beggar on the street and smiling to him, making him seen. The small moments. That's what we
yes.
do not appreciate when we chase something which is not us.
That's right.
And that
That's
for
right.
me became something which I think I'm still holding on very dearly
Yeah.
today, of appreciating the small moments.
That's been your life. Bring us to the notion of ambition. So you and
Yeah.
I interviewed, I know, in our early 20s for our first jobs. There's a question in all interviews come up. What would you do, or how do you see yourself in 5 years? They're trying to discern your level of drive, ambition, and where you go. And so we give some good response. But companies, businesses, or success, it's they are fueled by ambitious people, driven people, go, never stop. They have full calendars, they have full set of activities. So you talk about ambition that expands, versus ambition that is blind and it empties you.
Yeah.
What can you explain that? What do they look like? And how do you know if you are expanding through your ambition or are you numbing yourself?
Yeah. I'll give what my perspective. I'd love to hear yours as well, Ardish, because again, you know a lot in this field. And by the way, thank you for bringing up that question at the interview, which always drove me nuts because I never knew where I wanted to be in 5 years. And if I would have said something, I would have been wrong
Exactly.
anyway because things happen for me without me pursuing a career.
That's right.
It's possible to do a career without really pursuing something
That's right.
very ambitious.
I
But
agree.
talking about ambition, there is an ambition. And again, nothing wrong with being ambitious, nothing wrong with achieving. We wouldn't be pushing the world forward if we would
Yeah.
not be achieving things. I think the problem becomes when you actually find your entire self and life through achievements. So there is an ambition which expands you, which fulfills you. Like when
Yeah.
you're more or less following, and you feel it when you're following that calling in your heart. I felt it in projects like, especially which involved creating a different future, a better future. As I was at least seeing it from my for my
Mhm.
function, which was medical affairs, innovation in, for example, in clinical practice,
Yeah.
other AI in healthcare, and so on. And also when you're surrounded by like-minded people that see the same or want the same thing. So that's the type of ambition where you want to bring changes which
Yes.
are
Yes.
meaningful, which are aligned with your values and purpose,
Yeah.
and those expand you. Though
Yeah.
actually it's like more of you is being expressed.
Yes.
But there is also ambition which actually, I would say, looks successful from the outside,
Yes.
like pursuing career, jobs, getting the house, getting the car, getting the social status, and so on, which is also a type of ambition,
Yeah.
but where joy becomes very short lived, where the impact
Mm.
is just now, maybe for another week, and then you're pursuing the next goal. And
Yeah.
your entire definition of who you are and how you show up is through that. That's the
Yeah.
type of ambition which leaves us empty.
So it's really ambitions that you accomplish something, you finish a project, you do that, then you go to almost wilderness. So what's next?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in fact,
Yeah.
for listeners, that these are the time that some people rely on addiction, distracting behaviors, because you accomplish something, you've done it, celebration, kudos came, but after you feel empty and you just need to get some sort of dopamine and some sort of satisfaction. So people look for distractions. And also, when you think about addiction, whether it's the drinking here and there or overworking or the numbing yourself, these are all ways to get by, to don't feel the emptiness that is come from inside. I'm going to ask you a question. So you're a successful business leader. You're feeling that, hey, I have different vision. I want different things. I want expanded things, both successful, but also be me. Did you feel lonely where you were? Did you feel like there's a language you couldn't talk to others? Definitely, you couldn't talk to your boss. Did you feel like there's part of you that like almost who gets me? How did it feel to be among many people and feel like that?
For a long while, I haven't shared that with anyone other than my husband because I wasn't sure what to do with that feeling.
Yeah,
So for me, the impulse to, and I knew I'm going to do something. I think it was 1 year before I actually left. I didn't know
yeah,
what to do with that. I was lucky to have at least one person in my leadership team in
yeah.
Canada that really understood what I was going through. And I actually confided in her. And she actually made me understand that, yeah, it's not that there was something wrong where I was working. I was simply becoming something different. My path started to actually veer a little bit to the right or to the left, depending on how you want to
Mm,
describe. And I think that was a moment for me, a clarity moment when I said, yes, now it's going to happen.
yeah,
But yes, there are many moments when you feel lonely, you even feel crazy. You feel like,
yeah,
what's
yeah,
wrong with me? I
yeah,
had everything that I, the younger version of me, would have maybe not even dreamt
yeah,
if I remember when I was 20, 30 years ago.
yeah,
And something that many people aspire to. And yet I was profoundly unhappy with where I
yeah,
was.
yeah. That's right. Imagine there are people just like you 5, 10 years ago that as you were going through the duality, you're searching, but yet
Yeah.
you're in a key role, you're successful, and your family and your colleague, your company depend on. There are people listening to this podcast and they feel what you're saying. What do you want to tell to those individuals? It's almost like what it's almost your version of you 10 years ago. What do you want to tell to those?
If I would meet my younger version,
Yes.
I would probably say have the courage to explore. First of all, acknowledge what's going on for you.
Yeah.
Then go and explore what's really happening. Maybe speak to a person like yourself. I think I would have loved to meet you 10 years ago because I
Yeah.
know after I left, I think I would have not been able to understand myself as well as I did
Yeah.
without you and the group that you actually have formed. So
Yeah.
that has been amazing. But again, have the courage to explore, have the courage to reach out and ask.
Yes.
And most
Yes.
importantly, know that you are not alone. I
Yes.
cannot tell you how many people are feeling the same. People that have decided to continue to stay in their jobs. And
Yes.
I curious to them because again, that was their path.
Yeah.
That was not
Yeah.
my path, but it does have to be the same for others.
Yeah.
But you are not alone.
Not
And
alone.
if you want somebody to reach out to, there is an Ardashir, there is a Loredana, there are many others,
Yeah. Yeah.
colleagues who are feeling the same. Acknowledge what's happening and decide what
Exactly.
you want to do about that.
Exactly. Sneeze coming.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, great. I'm going to PQ. Yep.
Can I add something here?
Yes.
I do want to add one more thing because you asked me about loneliness on this path. I did have a great, bless you.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Thank God for it.
No apologies.
Thank God for the delete function. Oh gosh. I should take a lot more medicine. Oh.
It would have
All
been
right.
fun to actually broadcast this as well. Okay.
Oh my God. All right. One more time. Loredana, you have another point to share. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So you asked me before about loneliness, feeling lonely on this path. I want to be fully open and say I did have another good friend or a companion on this path, something that has been with me for a long time, probably for 30 years almost, which is my spiritual journey and the work that I've been doing in this space.
Lovely.
Again, also from the desire to really understand who am I really.
Yeah.
And this has been an incredibly powerful, I would say, maybe not, I don't want to say tool, but something, incredibly powerful presence in my
Yes.
life
Yes.
who has guided me in the moments when I felt really lost.
Yes. Beautiful. So there's an element of a spiritual and higher level of thinking, reflecting to our true humanity.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about, we all have multiple dimensions: professional, personal, cultural, a neighbor, a spouse, a sibling. And there's a key part of the spiritual being that is very personal, is very unique, private, and personal. And that guides our way of being day to day. And you tapped into that.
Yeah. It's been a driving force for me for a long time,
Yeah.
ignored for a while because I was too busy doing something
Yes.
else and coming back to it.
Journey of coming home. You also talk about a practice, a discipline, the expertise you have about what is called positive intelligence or PQ.
Yeah.
Share with the listeners what is positive intelligence, how did you learn it, how do you apply it for yourself and for your clients?
Yeah. Like a lot of other things in my life, positive intelligence, the training came at the right moment,
Yes.
immediately after I actually moved to Costa Rica and started that new life. And put in very simple terms, I would say the idea is that we all have this inner, I would say, team of voices or thought patterns that are sabotaging us. They are negatively impacting our health, our relationships, our performance. And it may be one thing that people can relate is that voice or that thought pattern of the inner critic, though
Yeah.
that voice that constantly criticizing us and telling us we are not good enough, the
Yes.
origin of the imposter syndrome. Now, this is what PQ calls saboteurs, and PQ is the short for positive intelligence.
Yes.
But there is another part. There is another thought pattern, if you want, from a neurophysiological perspective, another voice, if people want to acknowledge without being called names,
Yes.
which is a much softer voice, but a much wiser voice. And this is called the sage. And you learn how to recognize if what you are thinking and doing and feeling is coming from saboteur or from sage, and how to actually switch from one to another. And
Yeah.
instead of living a life which is fueled and maybe even if I look back at my career, which has been fueled by fear of not being good
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the majority of time, you learn how to live life and perform so much better from the fundamental emotion of love. And then you are
Yes.
not just performing, but you're also happy, which is
That's right.
something that has been missing from my life for a long time.
That's right. This is very timely that what you talked about, we are caught in the duality, attention
Yeah.
of I'm not good enough or I'm enough. I may need to learn new skills, operate in different way, speak to my courage, but deep down I'm good. Versus just say I'm not good enough, therefore I'm not going to try. I'm just going to give up, or and then just see myself as a failure. That tension is it's been with humans forever, and so many people in my clinical work that I see that they are still dealing with combination of guilt and shame.
Yeah.
Guilt is that I did wrong in my past, family, friend, relationship, jobs. I did wrong things. That's guilt. Shame is there's something wrong with me. I'm not a good person.
Yeah.
And these are some of the messages we learn early in life. These are tools for control, behavioral control, emotional, whether we use it with our kids, with our employees, with neighbors, siblings, but judgment, you're not good enough, is all around us. That's part of what you mentioned, PQ, say that these are narrative, these are stories, and often they are not true. There's a better way, there are more empowering ways to go about how you can reach your fulfillment.
Yeah. I would dare to say, Ardeshir, that though that narrative that I'm not good enough is never right.
Yeah,
Because if you look at people, really look at them, I would
yeah,
say, if you'll allow me, if you want to see them through the eyes of love,
yeah,
you'll understand that they are amazing human beings. Now, they might not always show up like that. Their actions might not always confirm that truth about themselves. But if you truly look at them through the eyes of love, you'll see that they are amazing human beings. They are
that's
really
right.
good.
Yeah,
And this change of narrative, but it's very hard for us to believe that. It was very hard for me
yeah,
for many years. Most years, I thought that's the biggest lie ever because I thought
yes,
that's what's pushing me to become better. And this is how the saboteurs are surviving because they think, I'm making you better, I'm keeping you
yeah, yeah,
safe.
yeah, that's right.
But there is a different way, exactly as you said, there is a different way.
There's a different way, and the seeing people around us through the eyes of love. Loredana, right now you are in Bucharest, Romania, in a key part of your journey, which learning from you is the journey. There are more chapters coming. You're by no means says, I've made it, I'm done. So what are you doing these days? What do you do? How do you spend your time?
Yeah, I'm actually working with Thrive Global in the space of corporate health and well-being, and I'm coaching corporate clients and helping them understand their life and look at their well-being in a very holistic way.
Yeah,
And examining mindsets and behaviors which are driving certain events in their life, maybe stopping them from expressing their full potential, from overcoming certain challenges. It's an incredibly rewarding work. I have to say, I haven't enjoyed my work like this in a long time.
wow.
And just seeing the smile of the other person,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
even if it's a small change, but it's the right small change, is the
yeah,
domino kicks of the rest. It's incredibly rewarding. And I have to say, there is something else.
yeah,
Through them, I'm also learning and becoming better. So
yeah, yes,
I would say it's a win-win.
yeah,
It's as if I would be giving them what I wish I also received, and I am
yeah.
receiving.
I love it. I can see your smile as you sharing this, that doing the work that you were building, learning, and yourself up to this point. Lovely.
Yeah.
I want to ask you to complete this sentence for us. The life you build is not the final version of you. It may be, fill the
Mm,
gap.
yeah. Thank you for the challenge. So I would say the life you build is not the final version of you,
Yes.
as I've known and lived through it. It may be the bravest thing, the most courageous thing you have done so far to build it up to this moment.
Yes.
And you can do also the next, maybe the second bravest, the second most courageous thing, to let it evolve from here further. Don't stop here.
Mm,
Keep going.
keep going.
And
I love that.
know that I know it because that's exactly what I'm doing. And it's a
Yes.
hell of a fun.
Yes. Beautiful. So on that one, then I want to bring you back again. If there's one recommendation, one call to action for listeners, you want to invite them, nudge them. What one thing? What would you tell them?
Can I say two?
Of course. I love it.
I would say number one, follow your heart always. No matter how hard it might
Mm,
feel in the beginning, it might be, but it's always going to be the right thing to do.
yes.
And second, be courageous. Don't let anything stop you from following your heart.
Follow your heart and be courageous. This is beautiful. This is like it's your life. Your life is calling. Follow your inner calling. Where do people find you, learn about you, contact you?
Yeah. So you can find me on social media. I have finally, after many years of not being there, I've decided to embrace the social media challenge, and I have an Instagram account, Facebook account. You can search me up. I am on LinkedIn. You can also look on my website, which is my first and last name, Loredana Regep, in
Right.
one word.com. You can always reach out to me via this means, and I'll be more than honored to serve you.
Beautiful. And for the listeners that just look down on the podcast, all the link and the citation for Loredana will be there. I invite you to contact her. She works with clients globally, so she's there, and the you will enjoy her, and you will find a great colleague, a great coach, a great mentor to get you going. Thank you so much.
Thank
I would love, Loredana, to have another episode with you in the upcoming months.
It will be my pleasure.